Intermission 2. Schiller learns from the best. Phil Schiller had some mighty big shoes to fill on January 6, 2009. Schiller, Apple's vice president of worldwide product marketing, replaced Steve Jobs as the keynote presenter at Macworld. Apple had earlier announced that this would be the company's last year of participation in the event. Schiller had the unfortunate role of being compared with his boss, who had more than 30 years of experience on the big stage. Schiller was smart, however, and delivered a product launch that contained the best elements of a typical Steve Jobs presentation. Following are 7 of Schiller's techniques that Jobs himself would surely have used had he given the keynote. Create Twitter-like headlines. Schiller set the theme of the day right up front. Today is all about the Mac. He told the audience, this opening is reminiscent of how Jobs opened the 2 preceding Macworld shows. Jobs told the 2008 audience that something was in the air, foreshadowing the MacBook Air announcement, and in 2007, Jobs said that Apple was going to make history that day. It sure did when Jobs later introduced the iPhone. Draw a roadmap. Schiller verbally outlined a simple agenda at the beginning of his presentation and provided verbal reminders along the way. Just as Jobs uses the rule of 3 to describe products, Schiller also introduced the presentation as 3 separate categories. I have 3 new things to tell you about today, he said, accompanying slide read 3 new things. The first was a new version of iLife. The second product he discussed was a new version of iWork. Finally, the third was a new MacBook 17-inch Pro notebook computer. Dress up numbers. As his boss does, Schiller added meaning to numbers. He told the audience that 3.4 million customers visit an Apple store every week. To give his audience a relevant perspective, Schiller said, that's 100 Macworlds each and every week. Stage the presentation with props. Demonstrations play a prominent role in every Steve Jobs presentation. Schiller also used the technique smoothly and effectively, as Jobs likely would have done had he given the presentation. Schiller sat down at a computer on the stage and demonstrated several new features that come standard in 09 versions of iLife and iWork. My favorite demo was the new Keynote 09, which comes closer than ever to letting everyday users create Jobs-like slides without an expertise in graphic design. Share the stage. Schiller didn't hog the spotlight. He shared the stage with employees who had more experience in areas that were relevant to the new products he introduced. For a demo of a iMovie 09, a new version of the video editing software, Schiller deferred to an Apple engineer who actually created the tool. When Schiller revealed the new 17-inch MacBook Pro, he said the battery was the most innovative feature of the notebook computer. To explain further, Schiller showed a video that featured 3 Apple employees describing how they were able to build a battery that lasted 8 hours on a single charge without adding to notebook's size, weight, or price. Create visual slides. There are very few words on a Steve Jobs slide, and there were few on Schiller's slides as well. The first few slides had no words at all, simply photographs. Schiller started by giving the audience a tour of some of the new Apple stores that had opened around the world the past year. There were no bullet points on Schiller's slides. When Schiller did present a list of features, he used the fewest words possible and often paired the words with an image. You can view the slide set yourself. by watching the actual keynote presentation on the Apple website or visiting slideshare.net. Deliver a holy shit moment. In true Steve Jobs fashion, Schiller surprised the audience by announcing just one more thing to close his presentation. He applied the rule of three as he had done earlier, but this time to iTunes. He said there were three new things for iTunes in 2009: a change to the pricing structure, the ability of iPhone customers to download and buy songs on their 3G cellular network, and the fact that all iTunes songs would be DRM free, i.e., without copy protection. Schiller received a big round of applause when he announced that 8 million songs would be DRM free starting today, and got an even bigger round of applause when he said that all 10 million songs on iTunes would be DRM free by the end of the quarter. Schiller knew that DRM free songs in iTunes would be the big headline of the day, and he saved it for last. The announcement did indeed dominate the news coverage that followed.